Hello, everyone. Stephanie Clegg, licensed associate counselor, and today's mental health topic is the importance of friendships on our mental health. So I'm gonna share two songs with you, and depending on the era, the generation that you were born into, you will probably be familiar with one or two of these songs. So the first song about friendships that came to my mind was a song by Houdini in 1984. And those of you who were old enough to know their music, you may remember the hook, right? Friends, how many of us have them? Friends, ones we can depend on. Friends, how many of us have them? Friends, before we go any further, let's be friends, right? So that's the hook on that song. Some of the lyrics, right? The lyrics say, some are okay and they treat you real cool, and some mistake your kindness for being a fool. We like to be with some because they're funny. Others come around when they need some money. So that's Houdini's version of friendship. If you're not familiar with Houdini, fast forward 1992, the group TLC had a hit out called What About Your Friends? And this song just basically says, what about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Will they let you down? Hey, hey. What about your friends? Are they going to be low down? Will they ever be around? Or will they turn their backs on you? That's TLC's version of friendships. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the importance of friendship on our mental health. Friendships play a significant role in our physical health, mental health, emotional health, and even in our social health. And social health basically means the way we interact or relate with other people. Friendship gives us a chance to build community and form deeper bonds. It also lessens the impact of loneliness and isolation. We are created to be social beings. We are created to be interdependent and interact with others. So when we do that, the likelihood of us feeling lonely or isolated is probably slim to none or significantly lessened. So let's talk. How does friendship impact our mental health? Friendships reduce stress. Friends can act as a buffer in stressful situations, right? We have someone to talk to, someone to vent when we are dealing with stressful situations. Friendships improve our self esteem. I like this one. It says, giving and receiving love and acceptance from others makes it easier to extend the same courtesy to yourself. I had to pause for a minute when I read that. That's deep. Yeah, so giving and receiving love from others and feeling acceptance gives us, um, it affords us the courtesy of extending that same love and that same acceptance of ourselves. Friendships help us avoid risky behaviors, right? For those who may struggle with like drinking, smoking, addiction, or other risky behaviors, friendships can serve as a good source of support. Friendships help us invest in our health, right? Friendships can offer like accountability, right? It's having that accountability partner. It's our check and balance system. Maybe your friends try to get you to eat healthier, exercise, get enough sleep. Friendships also combat loneliness, as I mentioned earlier. So that's kind of self explanatory, right? So if we're with other people, we're less likely to be lonely. Um, Friendships help us feel like we belong, knowing that our identity is accepted, affirmed, and celebrated can give us a sense of belonging. And I'm going to pause here for a moment to just interject with a word to parents or caregivers. Children typically between the age of like 7 and maybe up to about 11-ish or so are struggling to find out who they are and how they fit in the world and if they belong and how they belong. So a loss of a friendship to a child in that age range is devastating to them. They think it's the end of the world. So I'm going to say to you parents, please don't minimize that. Don't tell the kid to get over it. Saying things, basically like, we know as adults, right, that they'll have other friends. That same friend may make up with them tomorrow or the next day. They may develop other friendships. But here's the thing: a young child, does not have the cognitive or emotional capacity to handle that. They don't. Their thought process doesn't even work like that. They're not even mentally mature enough to understand that concept. So when your kid is crying and devastated over a friendship being broken, or a kid saying they don't want to be their friends anymore and things like that, do your best to support your kid. Just support them and let them know that they are accepted, that they're loved, that they're celebrated, right? And they'll kind of figure out the rest with the friendships, but you want them to still feel like they belong. But I just want you to know the importance of why it's so critical for kids to have friends, right? It's their whole world. It's their sense of belonging. How can you tell if you have a healthy versus an unhealthy friendship? Well, 3 things will tell. The first one is care. Does your friend truly care about you as a person, or do they only like what you can do for them? Do they ever put your health or safety at risk? You have to ask yourself that. Then the second way you can tell if your friendship is healthy or unhealthy is affinity. And affinity just means like a liking or an attraction, or basically, do you like someone? And that's the question. Do you truly like your friend? If you have a friendship with someone, but you don't like the person, or they don't like you as a person, that's suspect. And then the third way you can tell is, can you be yourself? The word comfort. Can you be yourself around your friend? And do you trust them? Right? In healthy relationships, you shouldn't have to deny any part of your identity to be accepted. Right? So you can tell if you have a healthy or unhealthy friendships by what? Care. Does a person truly care about you as a person? Affinity. Do you really like the person, and does your friend really like you? And comfort. Can you be yourself? Can you be yourself around your friend? So I'm going to leave you with this. Is it okay to not have friends, right? There are people we know that don't have a single friend. And when we're talking about friends, we're mostly talking about platonic friendships, like coworkers, peers, and things like that. But guess what? We can find the same love and the same social support in other relationships, right? In our families. Some people are very close to like a cousin, a sibling, and even in romantic partners, we can find friendships there. So I would say that it is beneficial to have friends in a lot of ways that we just talked about: physically, emotionally, socially, and as far as our mental health is concerned. So it is important to have friendships. They don't all have to be platonic, but we should have someone as a friend. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.